so it doesn't. All right, you ready? All right. Hello, welcome. We're so excited that you have joined us here this evening to talk a little bit about algebra readiness. So we are excited that you're here. We know that it takes a lot to carve out some time in your evening. So just thank you for coming tonight. My name is Sarah Svensson. I am the Senior Instructional Specialist for Elementary Math. And Leisha is my counterpart here, who's going to jump to the next slide for us. She is joining me here, and she is the Senior Instructional Specialist for Secondary Math. So again, we welcome you. Before we really dig into some of the algebra readiness content, we just wanted to share with you our mission and vision in Pasco County, because we are here to provide that world-class education for all of our students and your children. And our vision is for students to achieve success in college, career, and life. And being algebra ready really is vital for this vision and ensuring that our kids are set up for success in what their future has to bring for them. We wanted to share with you quotes from one of our Pasco County School Board members. It's Colleen Bodwin. She is the school board member for District Number 2, and she is also actually a lecturer of mathematics at the University of Tampa. And so when she heard that we were going to be offering this session for parents tonight, she got very excited and shared a couple words with us that we thought we'd pass along to you. First and foremost, that belief of all students being able to do well in math, and I speak for Leisha and myself here and all of our teachers and employees in Pasco County, that we truly do believe that all students are capable of doing math at high levels and doing it well. And she goes on, and you can see the quotes on the screen here, really recommending that students engage in math throughout all 4 years of high school, so that they are really confident and prepared for the potential of math in the college and career path that they choose when they leave our Pasco County schools. And so it's just really important for us to remember that we really want to encourage this for all of our children. And with that, I'm going to pass it over to Leisha.
Hi, as Sarah said, I'm Leisha Collins. I'm the Senior Instructional Specialist for Secondary Mathematics. And we wanted to, before we kind of jumped into the presentation, we really wanted to take a second to define what mathematics is. Mathematics, I think, I think I speak for Sarah as well, when we say, when people say, what do you do? And we say, we do math for a living. Usually the response we hear is, oh, math is hard. I wasn't any good at math. And so those are the myths that we're trying to dispel. And we want to make sure that we introduce math as something that everyone is capable of learning and applying at high levels. And we want to give you a little bit of a definition of what math is. So you'll see on the slide, math is real world problem solving. When we talk to members of our community and ask them what they're looking for in employees, they often say that it isn't about memorizing an algorithm or knowing a formula, but it's really about problem solving, thinking critically, coming up with innovative solutions for how to solve problems. And so when we think mathematics, we're thinking about real world problem solving. We're also thinking about financial literacy. So you heard Sarah mention in our Pasco County mission and vision statement that we want all our students to be successful in college, career, and life. And part of that is being good financial stewards in our community. It's a brain workout. So it's thinking critically, it's solving puzzles, it's thinking logically, it's really trying to be innovative in our solution process, and thinking about how to solve problems in a new, innovative, technology-rich community. It's analyzing, it's building those problem solving skills, and it's a universal language. So it helps us communicate with people, not just in our community, but around our world. So now that we know what math is, we want to talk a little bit about why math is important, not just in the K-12 educational system, but also beyond. So when we think about why math is important, again, we think about our students being successful citizens, and we think about how math prepares them for the changing world around us that is now very technology focused and data driven. So it's really about looking at problems, analyzing the problem, why is it occurring, and then thinking outside the box for potential solutions to that particular problem. We know that mathematics plays an integral role in being eligible for higher paying jobs and a big part of students' economic mobility. Many current positions require and look for analytical thinking skills, data management, problem solving, and again, having those tools to be innovative problem solvers. So now that we know what math is and why it's important, why is algebra readiness important? Well, algebra seems to be the gatekeeper that prevents students from moving on to those higher levels of mathematics. And so one of the things that we want to do is provide all students the opportunity to take Algebra 1 in 8th grade. The reason that that's important is because that then allows them opportunities to dig deep into advanced coursework that will help lay a foundation for them to be more successful, give them more opportunities to earn college credit while they're still in high school. It gives them a higher chance of enrolling in a four-year college or university. There are data studies that show that taking AP classes and coursework in high school provides better college outcomes. And it also shows that taking further AP courses allows students to score higher. I'm going to share some statistics with you that is from studies that were done from College Board. And that's the company that does that AP coursework and sets those standards. On this slide, you'll see some of the differences between those students that had the opportunity to take AP coursework and those that didn't. You'll see across the bottom there where it says the average AP score of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if you're unfamiliar with AP coursework, at the end of the course, students have the opportunity to sit for an AP exam that goes over all of the course content that they have learned throughout the year. And those exams are scored on a scale of 1 to 5. Proficient is a level 3. So usually colleges will award college credit to those students earning a 3, 4, or 5. But what is interesting to me about this statistic is that you can see here, even those students that scored a 1 or 2 and didn't earn college credit yet were way more likely to enroll in a four-year college and university than those students who did not have the opportunity. So again, just because they didn't score that level 3 yet, they still advanced or had tremendous opportunities awarded to them just by being engaged in that coursework. Another interesting statistic is that students who take AP coursework earlier in their high school careers and have the opportunity to take a second and even third AP course typically score a lot higher on their second attempt at that AP coursework. One of the things that's important to remember is that AP coursework is very difficult. And a lot of times math is something that has come easily to students until they get to that AP level coursework. And then at that point, they have to remember they have to learn how to study for mathematics, how to communicate effectively with mathematics, and really how to apply it in different situations. And so again, that's a skill that sometimes doesn't come naturally and takes a little bit of work. So I think it's important to show that even those students who weren't successful on their first attempt have much more higher likelihood of being successful in the second and third attempts. And so why Algebra 1 by 8th grade? Well, some college and career pathways require Algebra 1 or even geometry honors by 8th grade. And so Sarah's going to explain to you in a minute exactly how that course progression works here in Pasco County. But the idea is that when a student has Algebra 1 in 8th grade, then when they enter into the high school in 9th grade, they enter in geometry or geometry honors in that 9th grade year. Then in the 10th grade year, they typically take Algebra 2. In the 11th grade year, that gives them the opportunity to take AP Pre-Calculus, that just is a new course, just started this year. And then their senior year, they can take AP Calculus, they can take AP Statistics, or we even offer AP Computer Science. So the faster they begin in that high school coursework, the more opportunities they're going to have to be engaged with this AP level coursework. Sarah, you want to take it over from here?
Sure. So over time, we have received a lot of feedback from families that they would like to have more opportunities for their students to achieve these higher levels of math than when they hit high school. And so one of the things that is very exciting that we have offered is an elementary pathway, which provides students an opportunity to get on the accelerated pathway at an earlier time and actually reach honors geometry by 8th grade. And then it opens up the door both their junior and senior year for some of those advanced placement options that they have. And what this has done is it has reduced the need for any sort of summer learning or minimize the amount of summer learning, I should say, that students have to do, because it is really important that we do not just skip over grade level content and skills. We want to ensure that our kids have everything in place so that when they do hit algebra and honors and beyond, they've got a good solid foundation of what knowledge they need starting in elementary school and through middle school. So when we think about our traditional pathway for getting students onto the accelerated pathway, Alicia, if you go to the next slide, this is a traditional way where students in elementary school take the regular content in elementary, and then when they enter middle school, they have the option to either enter the regular 6th grade class or 6th accelerated. The 6th accelerated class consists of all of the 6th grade benchmarks and half of the 7th grade benchmarks. They then take 7th grade accelerated, which is the other half of 7th grade and all of 8th grade. So what you can see here is that between 6th and 7th grade, those kids that are on the accelerated path are able to take 3 years worth of content in 2 years. So it truly, we don't skip any standards, we don't do any of that. It just, they work at a faster pace and complete a year and a half of content in 1 year. What that does, it allows those students to reach Algebra 1 honors by 8th grade. And as Leisha shared before, by getting to algebra in 8th grade, multiple doors are open for them for further math opportunities and advanced placement. What's really great about that too is that they do get high school credit for that algebra course in middle school. Now, what you see on the screen is our accelerated pathway that starts earlier in elementary school. And it's really exciting that we have every elementary school this year that is offering 3rd accelerated, and it is growing. There are some schools that offer all of them because they've been on board a little bit longer. But we do have lots of 3rd graders that are entering this accelerated pathway. And this is a little different than the traditional way because, as you notice on the screen here, in 3rd grade, they complete all of the 3rd grade benchmarks and half of 4th. It sounds very similar to the last slide with 6th grade or 6th accelerated. And then in 4th accelerated, they take the other half of 4th and all of 5th grade. When they go into 5th grade, as 5th graders, they're actually taking the 6th accelerated course, the one that I explained on the last slide. So they actually are a year ahead then from the traditional pathway. And as it continues to go, you'll see that in 7th grade, instead of 8th grade, they take Algebra 1 honors And then in 8th grade, they take geometry honors. And so they're able to get 2 high school courses done in elementary school. And this, like I said before, opens up that pathway for our kids who want to get a couple extra advanced placement courses done and college level courses done in high school. We offer multiple pathways for students to get on this. So it's not I don't want my student in 3rd grade and accelerated. It doesn't mean that they can't ever get to geometry honors. We offer different on-ramping opportunities where there is a little bit of summer learning for them to make up for the benchmarks that they have missed. And then they're able to join this accelerated path. So we do offer that for going into 4th accelerated, 6th accelerated, 7th accelerated. So lots of different ways. So as parents, you'll make that determination of when your child is ready to enter the pathway, if this is the pathway that you'd like to choose for your kids. We do all that we can to make sure that they are successful as they progress through the different years. So what does algebra readiness look like? When we're thinking about our kids that are entering into algebra, whether it be in 7th grade, 8th grade, or to the traditional 9th grade, what does algebra readiness look like? Our kids have a strong number sense. So they're able to look at numbers, pull them apart and understand those different parts and put them back together in different ways. They really think flexibly about numbers. So that strong number sense is definitely something that is built in early elementary through, and it continues on, but some of those foundational pieces, we want to make sure that we're encouraging that they are able to understand. They're comfortable with multiple representations. So whether it be, we say they can solve the problem just fine, but can you show me in a picture what that looks like? And they're able to explain the math that's taking place. They're able to put information into tables and graphs and understand the implications of whatever the data points are that they are collecting with that. They have a good solid understanding of fractions, ratios, percents, proportional reasoning, and those things are all built in elementary school. That foundation is built in elementary school so that we are able then to extend that to those higher levels of math. They're able to identify and use patterns and structure when they're understanding different concepts. So as early as kindergarten, when students are adding 2 single-digit numbers together, they understand the patterns to solving problems, that even when they hit 3rd grade, that they're applying a similar structure to adding and subtracting fractions, for example. They make inferences about those. They are able to communicate about what they're doing and talk mathematically about the problem solving process. And one of the big things that's really important is that they ask questions. They're inquisitive, they're curious about math. They know, they just wonder about it. They wonder, if I solve the problem this way and I got my answer, what if I tried to solve it a different way? Am I gonna get the same answer? Why? Why does that work? So they ask those kinds of questions. They persevere through challenges. So when students are truly learning, they hit challenges and they have to stop and they have to ask those questions and they have to wonder and they have to problem solve. Can they persevere? Or do they throw in the towel and say, I don't get it, I'm done. We want them to continue thinking and processing through and puzzling through what is happening in the problems. So skills that promote algebra readiness are things such as fluently being able to select a strategy to solve a problem. So they're able to look at a problem and say, I'm not sure what the answer is, but I know I can try this strategy to solve my problem. And I might try a different strategy in another situation. They're innovative. Leisha talked about this earlier about being that innovative thinker and being a risk taker. And so really thinking outside of the box. The what ifs. What if I did this? How is my answer going to change? Or how is my thinking going to change? What do I have to add into my problem? That kind of leads to the questioning piece there as well. So we want to see them using mathematical vocabulary and being able to communicate about what they're doing. And then again, they ask those questions, they persevere. And so those things are so incredibly valuable for our students to have instilled in them when they're facing different things in math. So how can you help at home? Prepare your child for algebra readiness. It starts when they're young and it doesn't end when they leave elementary school. It continues into middle school and high school. Okay. As Leisha said, so often as adults, we might say, ooh, I hated math. It was hard. Okay? But we believe, and we want you to communicate with your children as well, that we believe that they can do hard things. That will build that perseverance and that willingness to try and struggle and work through that struggle. We believe kids can learn math at high levels and they can really do hard things. An easy one to help promote algebra readiness when you're working with your child is to use the word yet. So they may not understand a concept yet. So there's a huge difference in that one word. If there's the you don't understand versus you don't understand yet, that promotes a growth mindset in them saying, I'm just not there yet. I'm going to get there. I can do hard things. Encourage them to see math in their everyday world. We take for granted all the math that is around us and don't always put it all together and think of it as math. When you're baking or you're cooking, you're using math, whether it be measuring out ingredients or setting the temperature on the oven. When you're driving a location, how much gas do you have and how many miles are you going to be able to drive with that gas? And athletes even use it when they're trying to figure out measurements of golfers with putts. How far away is the hole that they are going to putt to? So there is a lot of things that we use math with, and we just don't recognize it as much. And helping our kids see where math lives everywhere in our lives will help increase their algebra readiness. And finally, understanding that mistakes help us grow. Oftentimes children they can be really strong in math when they're younger, and then it starts to get really hard. And remember, we believe kids can do hard things, but it's those mistakes, which is when the learning actually takes place. So if they're just telling you an answer, they're showing you what they know. But when we want them to learn, those mistakes and being able to work through those and understand why something didn't work and why you have to do it differently is where the real growth takes place. And celebrating those mistakes and saying, oh, that wasn't the right answer. You don't have it quite yet. What if we tried it another way? Encourages them to see that mistake actually is a good thing so that they're able to continue to grow their brains. Leisha, do you have anything you want to add on to that?
I just want to reiterate that on the slide that you showed about the course progressions, just to emphasize that the reason that students are able to escalate so quickly is because they are taking about 1.5 years worth of math each year. And so because of that, and in order to teach all of those standards, it does move at a rapid pace. And so not only are we encouraging students to grow mathematically, but we're also encouraging them to be good note takers, good risk takers, good questioners. If they don't understand something, to speak up and say, I don't understand, or I need clarification about that, or where can I go to find more information? We want them to advocate for themselves by asking questions and communicating both what they do and what they don't understand. So encouraging your students to advocate for themselves, to speak up in class, to ask questions when they don't understand, encourage them to know that even if they have a question, chances are there are other students that have those same questions. And so to go ahead and ask those. We want our students to be successful each and every step of the way. And we know that with your support, they can definitely do it. The last slide shows my email information and Sarah's email information. We only have a couple of minutes. So if you would like to unmute and ask us a question, we're happy to answer those now. Or if you're more comfortable emailing any questions that you might have, we can certainly respond to those as quickly as possible. So again, thank you guys so much for coming and sharing a little bit of your evening with us. And if you have some questions, feel free to stick around and go ahead and ask those. Otherwise, thanks again and have a great night.